Okay. A special meeting of the Board of Trustees of East Central ISD will be held April 9, 2026, beginning at 5 p.m. at the boardroom. The meeting will be conducted in, oh, I'm not reading all that. Madam Secretary, can I have a call for a roll call?
Yes, ma'am. Ginger Freezer, huh?
Here.
David Sonda.
Yes, ma'am, here.
Brandon Hanhart. James Lowry. Devin Jervis here. Renee Carrasco.
I'm here.
And Lee Britt.
Here. Thank you, Madam Secretary. The next item on the agenda is prayer and pledge.
Gracious Father, we thank you so much for today, for the opportunity to give us to gather. Father, I pray that you would help us to rightly divide the things that we are set before us, help us to gain the knowledge that we're needed for these decisions, Father, for this great community, for these kids. Lord, I pray that you put a hedge about each one, put a hedge about these campuses. Lord, that we give you glory and honor in Jesus' name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
So I don't believe there's any public comments, so we'll just move into the board session. Item 5. First item is 5.1, discussion of SB 13 procurement list, number 4 for library materials.
Yeah, trustees, we have staff here to talk a little bit about the procurement list. At this time, it's enormous. It's linked in your electronic packet. It's enormous for a reason, so we'll let staff talk a little bit about that so you understand what is included in this item for your consideration next week.
So first I want to apologize because the list does look like there's over 4,500 books. There was a little confusion. There's some new tabs in your, on the electronic packet that shows just the new titles that y'all haven't already approved for the year, or books that were already in our library. So that brings it down to 3 books at Victory, three titles at Victory, and 70 at Valor, but none of those titles are anything to be concerned or need to have a deeper look into. So.
Awesome. Well, that helps.
Yes, because
Ginger reviewed every one of those. All 45, 75.
yeah, so eventually.
You read that, Jess?
She's over it. All right, thank you so much. The next item is 5.2, discussion of instructional materials allotment and teacher certification 2026-2027.
Yeah, turn it over to our Director of Curriculum Instruction, Jennifer Casper, brief the board on this item.
So, every year, one of the requirements for TEA is for us as a district to basically write down all the instructional materials that we're using, mostly for core content area, PE as well, and then just to give some assurances. And basically, we're just verifying that the materials that we're using cover 100% of the state standards that students are expected to master. And it goes on from everything from what are you doing for phonics in K through 5 to your reading program, math, science, social studies, middle school, high school, do you have an internet protection policy, things like that. And so what will be on the board agenda for on the 16th is just the signature page that President Preston is required by you just to sign it. And then I take it back and I upload it into TEA by the end of May. If you guys have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Anyone have any questions? Okay, well, thank you very much. The next item is 5.3, discussion of Big Rock Educational Services Contract, LASO 4.0. Is that LASO?
LASO, yes, ma'am. So, last work session, Ms. Barnes presented and Jennifer presented a little bit about LASO, the LIFT grant. Of course, this is now the 4th iteration of LASO. It's a grant funding program through the agency that supports teaching and learning. The evolution for us has been Initially, we used the funds to bring in an organization, a technical support provider, because if you remember, those funds are to support teaching and learning, but a portion of those funds is designated for technical service provider. And the agency will give you a list of vetted providers to choose from, and then we go through our own internal process to determine which provider is going to meet our specific needs. So a few years back, LASSO 1.0, we hired MDIT. That particular purpose of bringing them on was to focus on the teacher evaluation rubric and our calibration across administrators. As we go into classrooms and observe teaching and learning, we wanted to make sure that we were understanding the rubric as designed and that we were calibrated across evaluators when they were going into classrooms and evaluating instruction. That was kind of our first phase in really elevating the quality of teaching across our system. Subsequently, we brought in last year Great Minds, because the next opportunity for us was to focus on content-specific skill development in elementary, and math was our focus. Generally, this is a general statement, most of our elementary teachers are generalist certified, so they're certified to teach everything, and generally speaking, most of them are more comfortable teaching reading or literacy than they are mathematics. So depth of content knowledge in mathematics, in other words, where does the math go? Where does this skill in second grade go or relate to by the time they get to algebra or geometry or beyond? They don't generally, as a rule of thumb, elementary teachers don't have that really vertical knowledge of math content or really depth of understanding math content. So oftentimes there's misconceptions that are not taught clearly. And maybe even teachers revert to teaching strategies for how to solve the math problem, but not teaching the actual mathematics, right? And so there was an opportunity in our system there. So we brought in a technical support provider that really sat with principals and leadership teams with teachers in instructional planning, went into classrooms, observed math instruction, planned for math instruction, coached up math instruction all across our system. And with this iteration, we believe now it's moving towards sustainability of these things. So we talked to the board last time about we really want to focus on supporting instructional leaders, principals and their instructional leadership team to be able to do this same work, calibrating around evaluating teachers and coaching up quality instruction, coaching up content knowledge in mathematics for elementary teachers, and doing that without technical support providers, because the whole goal of the agency is to fund it, build your system, but then eventually take the training wheels off and let you lead the system. So what we've been looking for most recently is a technical support provider who has expertise in that space that can help us level up our ability to sustain the work and lead the work from an instructional leadership standpoint. So it's principals, instructional leadership teams, and district curriculum and instructional leadership teams. And so I want Jennifer to talk a little bit about the process that got us to this point, and then talk to us a little bit about this particular consultant.
Sure. So as Mr. T mentioned, in the current LASSO right now, we've got Great Minds, who is the company that wrote the resource that we're using. So we heavily leaned on them for content support. This particular brand has a different focus. It's a little bit more on leadership. So TEA puts out a list of approved vendors. You have to select a vendor from that approved list. In fact, 70% of the grant funds automatically have to go to one of those vendors. And so we screened those vendors. We narrowed it down to the one we were currently using and another one that looked really appealing. And then we re-interviewed the one that we were currently using, Great Minds, and then we interviewed this partner called Big Rock. We were pretty impressed with what their delivery was. They had the receipts basically that could show 60% of their campuses moved at least one letter grade or higher in math. I think it was 30% moved 2 letter grades or higher, and 6% moved 3 letter grades. And they talked about their process for how they do that, how they support campuses. We thought, oh, there might be something to this. So then we had a principal engagement session where we invited, we stayed after one of our meetings with our principals. Mr. McKay was there, Shane was there, Joette, Mr. T. We did about a 40-minute webinar with them where the company did a pitch deck to our principals. Our principals were allowed to ask whatever questions they wanted, and they asked a lot of questions. And at the end, when the webinar was done, we just kind of sat around table and was like, what do you think? It was pretty unanimous. They all wanted a piece of this new, this company, Big Rock. Big Rock is different from any of the other companies that we've worked with in a couple of ways. One way that they're different is they said, yeah, we know that TEA has these requirements, but we also know what works. So we're gonna do what works and what we have receipts for that works, and then we'll just make all the stuff fit for what TEA has to do. So they're much less compliance driven with checking off the boxes of whatever TEA says you have to do, but they've got a set of strategies for leaders and for teaching and a process that is sound, developed, it is research backed, and field tested with receipts. And so they want to give that to us. Another thing that's different about Big Rocks is just like we do our strategy on a page where we have differentiated supports for campus, one of our differentiated supports is Big Rock. But within Big Rock, they differentiate their supports. So in previous technical providers, every campus, every principal, every teacher got the same level and type of support. Big Rocks doesn't do that. Big Rock, I keep adding the S, there's no S there. Big Rock doesn't do that. Big Rock says you take your 2 most needy campuses and they get this level of support. They get 33 coaching sessions, they get an hour or 3 hours with a Big Rock representative every single week. You know, they get XXXYZ. And then you take your 2 most highest performing campuses and they get a monthly touch point, and then they get some additional support through the principal manager. So it might look something like Big Rock coaching Miss Barnes and then Miss Barnes coaching the principal. And then the 5 campuses that are in the middle get something that's somewhere in between. So not the highest level of support, the most intensive, but not the lowest either. What was really interesting when we talked to our principals about this is some of our principals that were from our highest performing campuses were kind of catching on, and they're like, okay, so if I'm like an AV campus, I might get the least amount of support. And they're like, well, what if we want more? Like, what if we want more support from this provider? And so, like I said, the grant, we have to put 70% of that money towards the technical provider. We have options with the other 30%. Some of those options include stipends for teachers, like if they're going to do training. It includes putting more money towards the technical provider, or it could pay for like a student-facing platform for math instruction. So once we kind of move a little forward down the road and we start to meet our Big Rock counterparts, if our principals that are receiving less support want more support, we can add it into the budget that we allocate more additional. We can move another campus up that tier. So I think that's an interesting piece of flexibility for us. The third thing that I think this company stands out for us was a lot of the things that they were talking about were systems that we were already doing, and they were using the same language. So we've leaned on some instructional coaching methods over the last couple of years, and so you'll hear some kind of key phrases like monitor and adjust and in the moment coaching, and they use those same things. Their systems are built on the same built from the same shoulders of the research that all of our systems are grounded in. So our principals saw a very natural connection. In fact, they were saying, it sounds like all the stuff that we're doing, just better. One of our principals even said, this company is the one that gives me what I need, because what I need is support to be a better principal, and I feel like they can get us there. So we had that session with the principals. They were all like, yes, gung-ho, let's do it. I had another kind of conversation with Big Rock, so we're in the process of actually have the first draft of the contract ready to go. There's something with the data sharing agreement that we're going back and forth on right now, so we're gonna get that piece worked out. But we will be ready with your approval to take this as a vendor to the board at the next board meeting, because 70% of that grant comes out to about $479,000. And because it's over $100,000 and we've not partnered with this company before, then you guys would need to approve them as a vendor. So if all goes well, then we start planning with this company in the next month or so. We start with a needs assessment, and then we start introducing campuses with the partners, and then we kick the work off right away.
Yeah.
I'd love to answer any questions.
Let me add really quick. So far, the technical support providers that we've utilized have really been a benefit. They've helped us achieve what we had set out to achieve. The other thing we learned with the previous providers was they were a little less flexible to differentiating support, and everybody had to have the same level of support, but we pushed back and started to expect them to kind of customize support where it was needed and how it needed to look. This particular provider resonated with principals for all the reasons that Ms. Casper already mentioned. They are aligned to the same language, the same structures and systems are grounded in the same research that we're already doing. They come into it saying we're differentiating support based on needs. So if you have a campus like Highland Forest, I use for an example, they've got receipts. Their structures and systems seem to be working really well. So they're gonna get the lowest level of support, kind of be able to operate the way they've been operating. However, if Brittany says, hey, I'm liking what I'm seeing over there, I want a little more of that, because I think there's still some opportunity to refine what we're doing, we have the ability to do that. But they're not all going to get the same level of support and be expected to shift into the way Big Rock prefers to do things if we're doing something that works, right? So that really resonated with the principals as well. And I guess the third impression that I left with was we're at a place where we're getting pretty sophisticated and mature with regard to leading instruction. Like, the level of quality of instruction and instructional leadership in our system is unlike anything any of us have seen before. Very mature, very high level. Big Rock is bringing the next level of technical support. Like 2 years ago, Big Rock would have probably been way over our head. This next year, some of our previous providers would have been a little behind the curve. Like they would have been trying to teach us how to hit a soft toss instead of a fast pitch. Like these people are right where we need to be. This is the impression of the principal. Like they're at our level. Like that's where we want to be. We're ready to go to that level. So am I pretty accurate? And this is what we heard from principals. So I'll turn it over to the board for questions.
I got a few questions. So the first one was, who else is using them? I guess around, is there some close districts that are using them, or
Can't remember if it was SAISD or Edgewood or someone that was using them for a grant. Our principals asked something similar because they wanted to go see a campus that was getting that same supports because they wanted those receipts. And the campuses that they were supporting, they weren't supporting in math, so what they sent us was a video of their team, one of their senior team members leading some of that support so our principals could see it. But I know there were 2 in San Antonio. I can double check for sure. I think one was an Edgewood grant recipient and one might have been an SAISD. A lot of their work is outside of Texas and outside of San Antonio, but I think those are the 2 that I mentioned.
okay, yeah, and it doesn't have to just be here local as well too, because the cool thing about the networking that we have, there's 30 other board members around Texas that we get to network with, and I can ask, hey, how's it going? Reach out to them directly. So if you can give me a list of those,
Sure.
that would be great. And then another question I had, like, where are they from? Are they local? Are they Texas?
That's a great question. I probably have that on, just not off the top of my head. I don't know that they're Texas, to be honest. They could be, but I think they might not be, if I'm completely honest. But I can find out for you.
Somewhere where there's a big rock.
I wanted to say Arizona or something.
I was thinking Fredericksburg.
It says it on the bottom of their contract. I'm like, I know I saw it somewhere, but I don't have that contract memorized. But it has their address at the bottom. I don't think it's Texas because I think one of the things that I sent back to them was in the contract, any legal things that have to happen, they have to happen in Texas. So I was cognizant of that, which makes me think it might not be Texas. I want to say Arizona, but I will find out for sure.
One last question.
It's okay. I can take them. I might not have the answers, but I'll get them.
They popped in my head.
Good question.
You go right ahead.
How long have they been around?
Oh, I saw that too. I'll get you. I'll get it in the back and I'll slip it to you in like a little sticky note.
Okay.
I saw, it was on their presentation. I can't remember. Is it 2006, 2004 or something? I had that.
Yeah, so so first of all, the agency, all of the providers that you have to select from have been vetted by the agency and the Board of Education. So there's that. But also, they had a presentation they shared with principals and had data from all of the districts that they've served most recently and historically. I got the impression they've been around quite a while, all over the country. Maybe a more recent footprint in Texas, but they do have a list of school districts from around Texas that we'll definitely get from them to share. We did have a couple of principals that wanted to, connect with them and observe the way they operate, as Jennifer mentioned. And one of our other technical service providers who's helping us with strategic compensation and has helped us with our ACE turnaround grant at Legacy. Has worked with school districts and systems across the state and has observed many of these technical support providers firsthand. And when we were going down this road and he learned that we had an opportunity to consider Big Rock, he said, do your own due diligence. But I have seen their work and I have seen the results of their impact in school systems, and you guys might want to take a close look. So it was a recommendation that also caused us to really pay attention.
I do have it, so they're in Dallas.
They're from Dallas.
They're from Dallas. Here are some of the districts they have listed on their website that they work with. So they're with Aldine ISD, they're with Angleton, Beaumont, they're with Banquette, they're with Dallas, DeSoto, Ector County, Edgewood.
Dallas ISD?
Yes, sir. Dallas ISD, let's see, Jubilee Academies, Fort Worth, KIPP, Laredo ISD, Lubbock ISD, Region 13, Lancaster ISD, yeah, they're at Richardson ISD, yeah, they're all over the place. Terrell ISD,
Yeah, there should be a-
Irving,
Should be a list.
Midlothian, they're all over, yeah, they're everywhere.
Thank you.
One of the other things that was interesting is one of the other technical service providers kind of caught wind that we were looking at them, and they're like, oh yeah, we subcontract out sometimes with Big Rock. And that was almost a red flag, you know, like here's another one that wants our business, and they're saying they subcontract out with this company to like beef their services up. So I was like, that was really interesting.
You done?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll go next. And I had that exact same thing, similar school districts, so thank you for providing that. If you don't mind giving me that list as well, please. First one I had was cost. This was a 100% grant, nothing out of our pocket, correct?
100%.
Outstanding. And then lastly, support. I heard you say that they've done similar, they work with Aldine, Beaumont, Dallas. They've obviously have some support in those areas. But what about down here? Are they going to provide feet on the ground for us, you know, as deemed needed and what we're paying them for?
Yes. It's outlined in that contract, like how many face-to-face. Some things might be virtual, usually just depending on scheduling, but any training and walking, I mean, it's been like that with all of them. So TA requires that of all of the providers. It doesn't matter which one you're using. They have to have in-person at the district with the campus principal, on the campus, in classrooms and in POCs. It's a requirement.
So how long will we have this support? I mean, like if we have a contract with them, okay. And then so is it, you look at it periodically or, I mean, how do you kind of, you know where I'm going with
Yeah.
that? I just, okay.
So with this particular grant, it is a 3-year, is that right? 3-year
Okay.
grant. So we do all the contracting up front. At the end of year 1, there's a process that we go through where we could say, you're meeting our needs, these are the things that we asked you to deliver, you're delivering, we're gonna continue. There's also a process if we say, you know what, I'm sorry, you haven't met our needs, we need to divorce from this contract and we're gonna bring someone else in. So that is part of the process. So on paper, we're doing a 3-year, it's just the way the grant is set up, with the option at the end of every year to reevaluate and renegotiate.
You mentioned earlier, that 70% has to go to, the training, and there's another 30% that's available should someone need more. Okay, how do they, how is it assessed if they need more? Who do they tell, and what does that look like when you said they move up?
So typically what that looks like for us in this situation is we do the contract for the 70% as a starting place. The neat thing about this grant is the other 30% for budgetary purposes is going to go into the same budget line, whether it is for stipends or for contracted services, as far as like TAs providing, we don't have to move any money. We will start probably from the beginning, looking at, once we get an idea of what their support is and getting a feel from the principals, like if there's someone that's like, hey, I need this, like we can make that determination and talk with them right then and there and start doing like additional contracted services with them. We're just doing the 70% off the top to give us a little bit more flexibility. But it could come out through data, it could come out through a principal requesting, hey, I need some more support. It could happen just us having conversations and saying, you know what, we saw this happening at this campus and we think this one would benefit from it. And those include other fluctuations too. We might see that one coach at one campus is highly effective, but another coach at another campus isn't, and we can request a different coach, or we can request that those coaches switch. So those are all conversations that we will have, because we'll have a weekly standing meeting with Big Rock every single week for about 2 hours. It talks about how's it going, what are you doing. They have a dashboard that they're gonna show us that shows all their minutes, what they've been doing, what recommendations they've made. So we will be in weekly conversation. So we can make little tweaks real easily within the weeks, but then if we need to make a bigger tweak, like adding support to another campus, we can start doing that as soon as the need arises.
And that 30%, you can mention it again, is it could be hiring Big Rock for some additional scope, but it could also be used for other things. You want to mention?
It could be used for teacher stipends for training, which we don't anticipate. We don't anticipate any new training for teachers with this grant. In LASSO 3.0, we funded an additional math coach that serves our neediest campuses. So that's something that everyone's also interested in. Right now, our principals have asked for us to try to retain that position as a former East Central employee that's been coming in and coaching. So that 30% can pay her salary for 1 more year, and then it could pay for a platform. So like a iReady, iExcel, something that students get on and work on. So right now, we're trying to look at other funding sources to take care of platform needs, because we need to be able to sustain that on our own already. And then if we do that split where we still have the math coach, I think it still left us like $89,000 that we could contract back out with Big Rock to provide additional support.
And I was just curious, it's just totally elementary, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what would the, let's speculate, what would the bridge look like once the kids leave from the, and then get into middle school? Will that be?
We're working on that too. We're working on that too. Okay, so this is just math, elementary,
Right.
this particular grant, but our elementary campuses are really strong about when something is working in math and we can like transfer it over to other content areas, we do that. For middle school, we've got a couple things going on. We did not apply for a middle school grant because under this LASSO 4.0, you have to have one technical provider serve all of your campuses. We've been using a technical provider in secondary, it's Carnegie Learning. It's the company that wrote the curriculum, and we've been really happy with them. And so if we were to try to do that same grant, either we'd have to divorce with Carnegie, or we'd have to have the elementary go with Carnegie. We didn't think that was a good idea. So what we are planning for and budgeting for right now is to continue our support with Carnegie. I think it's 10 days per middle school campus right now, and using additional funds to kind of keep that going. The really neat thing about that is, so in LASSO 3.0, we have to follow like all of TEA's grant guidelines, and the sessions have to be what TEA says. Well, we purchased extra days with our provider this year, and in those extra days, we've been able to use them how we want to use them and meet our needs. And our system is responding really well to that. Our teachers are doing better, our students are starting to perk up a little bit, just because the support is tailored to what our needs are. And so doing the Carnegie support using federal funds next year allows us to continue on with that. So we'll still have the support from a vetted technical provider, they are TEA approved as well, but we won't have any of the limitations in the check boxes of the grant. We just have to sustain the funding on our own. So that, and those, the two resources that our elementary math and our secondary math are using are now the exact same publisher, same resource. So there's a lot of vertical alignment between that. So the students won't experience a big shift from 5th grade going into 6th grade. And then because we've done so much work on what effective instruction looks like, our teachers won't notice a big shift either.
And will the assistance for Big Rock start with this school year coming up?
It actually will start in April, because they have to start a needs assessment as part of the process with TEA. So we'll start with it.
Anybody else?
So what I'm hearing is we have funds not out of our pocket, which are normally don't ask. We have to spend the money. It's good. Our principals love it. Have they communicated anything to the teachers? Are the teachers gonna love it? I'm sure they will. Once they get out of it, it's just gonna benefit the students.
Right now, it really seems like this support is focused on the face-to-face piece being between the coaches at Big Rock and the principal, or assistant principal, or academic facilitator. So one of the things the principals asked was, does it always have to be the principal getting the support? And what Big Rock said is, well, what we want to do with you is for you to decide what is your most important priority. So Harmony might say 4th grade, and then Sinclair might say 2nd grade. And then at Harmony, if it's the assistant principal that supports 4th grade, then they're the one that gets that one-on-one support with the Big Rock person. At 2nd grade, if it's the academic facilitator, then that's who gets that support. And then let's say honor says it's 5th grade, and the principal, Stephanie supports that, then that principal gets that support. So the conversations have been centered around the instructional leadership team. There probably won't be too many touch points between the actual technical provider and the teachers in this particular one. However, I will say over the course of all of our partners with the LASO grants, our teachers have been very, they've loved all of our coaches.
So they will get time. In other words, the principal doesn't have to go teach kinder, first, second, third, grade math.
No, but that's what they liked about Big Rock, is Big Rock said, you pick your one grade level, we're gonna pour into you whatever leader's leading that grade level, and then you scale out however that, seems fit. And so just like, Mr. T was saying, campuses need different levels of support. Grade levels are like that too. So you might have a 4th grade team that's brand new teachers. They need a much different level of support than your 5th grade team that has 20-year veterans on it. Some of those teams, they're self-sufficient, they run themselves. You just have to poke in and just say hi and they're fine. And others are sitting there like, tell me what to do. And so the principals like the fact that they can even differentiate amongst their campus and say, this team is gonna be the team that gets the majority of the support.
Thank you. Good questions. Anybody else? All right, thank you so much. Next item is 5.4, discussion of proposed change order on high school number 2 contract.
Yeah, trustees, so we talked last couple of months about the project for high school number 2, and then, our strategy has served us well, and that project has come in under budget. And what that's done is given us some opportunities to reallocate some of those savings to meet some of the needs that we have there at high school 2. And what we're bringing tonight is the first amendment to the contract, first change order, if you will. And what we have determined is that we did not intend for the stadium at high school 2 to be a competition stadium, but rather a sub-varsity competition. So when bleachers on both sides, didn't have a press box, all the things, it would be a nice field they could practice on, but all home games would be played at East Central High. Given that we've come in under budget, we have an opportunity to make that a competition stadium, and that's what we're bringing to you tonight, is to talk a little bit about the concept, the projected cost. We'll have we'll have really actual cost next week, but we've got a pretty good idea. What the seating of the stadium will be, the comparability to the current high school stadium, and what the impact is on making this change to other design elements that we have to consider. So we just want to have a discussion with the board tonight about that and see what your thoughts are. So, Thomas?
Thank you, sir. As Mr. Toscano said, we were very conservative and hopeful to get to a budget for GMP, which is the guaranteed maximum price for 1 and 2 that y'all passed, of $187 million. We actually got to $184.4 million, which allows us some leeway to look at some of these opportunities, like this stadium expansion. You can see here in that contract, the current seating for the athletic stadium is 990. This expansion that we're looking into with our partners would take that up to 52, a little over 5,200. So we're anticipating, the first numbers came in ballpark a little over $2 million, which we think we will be fine. We still have another $5 million in contingency. We're working through dirt right now, where we usually have a tendency to find some of our opportunities to spend that contingency, and we've done very well. We haven't run into any really strong headwinds there. So there's a long way to go on this project, but we've accomplished a couple milestones here recently where we think and we feel comfortable to propose that we have this possibility to make this expansion. So, in doing so, you can see the site there, I don't know if I can blow it up. The result of that is basically moving the field itself about 12 foot to the east, which is towards that parking lot and baseball field side, so that we miss some drainage. And you'll see there that the home side is larger than the visitor side. It's there on the west side. Additionally, we're looking at expanding the restrooms that we have available, working through that process right now. But we think we can have a comparable seating and kind of amenities to what we have now at our current East Central High School.
So I was just about to ask, and I don't know if I'm jumping ahead, but so you said it was 5,000, what was the number, the new
I
number?
think it's a little over 5,200.
And what is the capacity now?
It's about 5,000.
So about the same?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we had Ms. Burns do a little research, and in recent years, the most tickets we've ever sold for a Friday night football game over here in recent years, a little over 3,000.
Yeah, 3,115, that was Del Rio in 2020.
So we believe that the 5,200 will handle even big playoff games, and it's been a long time, but we do have the ability to add additional bleachers, portable bleachers around the end zones, which we've done years ago in a round 3 playoff game. We could do that same thing over there and even get over 5,000. But generally speaking, a packed house, homecoming, there's 3,200 people there. 5,200 gives us plenty of coverage, unless the visitors travel really, really well.
And I'm sure they would, to your point, you could put portable
We
bleachers and
could.
stuff, so if you had
We'll
to
have some
expand into the
opportunities.
future. And two, I guess the schools will be smaller sizes
For a little bit.
for the,
Now, if we change, are we deciding if we're gonna change and our old campus will be now, like, how we originally were gonna do the new campus?
You
Are we
talking
gonna have
about
two high
like
schools in the
class, like
district?
classification 5A?
no,
Well,
I think
like
she's
the
saying like, so
comprehensive-
the home field for both schools were gonna be the.
Correct.
And now, are
Now,
they,
They'll both have their own home stadiums.
oh, okay.
Oh, so they're gonna be two different high schools.
They will be two different high schools.
We're not
Wait.
gonna have this one sub varsity.
No.
This one's-
Yeah, they were both always gonna have their own varsity, but they weren't gonna have a competition field. All varsity games for both high schools were gonna be, which is the same thing Clemens and Steele
Right.
had done. Steele had to play their home games.
Right.
That was kind of a model in Arlington, but now with this opportunity, they're both gonna have their own practice and game facilities. So that's, would be for football, would be for soccer, would be for,
And when does
But-
that get determined what it is gonna be classified as? 5A?
as far as, so that'll be based on enrollment.
Right.
So initially, the second high school will probably be a little bit smaller, but remember, there's a phase 2, 1,000 seat addition that's been designed at some point in the future bond when enrollment necessitates will be put forward for the community's consideration. Eventually, they're both probably gonna be big 6As until a third high school enters the conversation. And even then, with demographers' projections, by the middle of the 2030s, all three are probably gonna be big 6As.
And when you were talking about this expansion, I love it. Why not, right? We came under the budget, let's do it. My mind started going to that, the parking lot for more cars.
So in that initial, that second GMP, the 1 and 2 that you have already passed, we put $1 million in there to do parking lot expansions so that we can build out all of our parking lots because we felt like we were in a good space already. So we're already anticipating to build out the rest of the parking lots you see there. Initial package where we were when we were doing budgetary numbers was had contracted that. We were gonna put the additional parking into phase 2. We felt as we got through GMP 1 that we had the ability to go ahead and do that expansion. We put $1 million budget line item in there to cover that. So that's already covered in your GMP.
So you're expanding the parking.
We are building out all of we anticipate, we'll see, it should come in close to $1 million, and that's what we put in there. So we're
Right.
building out all
What
of
we
the
were
parking
originally
lot.
gonna do.
I got you.
Right
Yeah,
now,
I-
instead
we're
of
doing
putting
now
that
what
into
was in phase two.
Got you.
Yes, it was
Full
originally
parks.
in phase two, it's less expensive for us to build it now
Yeah.
where we were with these dollars
Right.
today. So we went ahead and put that money in there to
Is
build
there
that part.
a calculation, a ratio as to how many bathrooms have to be
Yeah.
there? Because
So
of-
there is, yes, ma'am.
I love it.
I have one,
I'm sad for this one.
And
well, that's
And
where I was going.
Just to
Yeah.
respond to that, we are going through the exercise now because we didn't have enough bathrooms because it's only gonna seat 900.
Yeah.
So we've got an expansion design, we're working through that process now,
But
and
that's
that
all
is,
gonna be.
it's a design problem we have to solve, it comes with this expansion.
We think we'll fit that. Actually, that one probably won't go in, we'll put it in that contingency, but we're gonna still put it in the same footprints of the buildings that we already have. So if you just took that concession, restroom, all that building, that's probably $1 million building, right? We're just using the existing footprint, building it bigger, using the same utility lines and everything else,
Yeah.
and taking advantage of that, so we're just gonna make them bigger, both of those. And it's on either end zone of that field.
So one thing that crosses my mind, I think you alluded to a little bit, the old stadium, now that they're separate, not playing in the same, I was under the impression they were gonna move all the home games to the new facility, because they have a press box, and so the old one is still gonna be,
Yeah, so to clarify, the new school was never going to have a press box or competition. They were gonna have to play over here
Correct.
with no press box.
Correct,
But
but-
now they're gonna have a press box,
but now you have a high school.
and
that
now we
doesn't.
have one that doesn't. That is
That
correct.
was gonna be my next.
So why wouldn't we make that the home field for both schools?
It's an option.
Because
It is an option.
I just feel like you're gonna have people saying, well, they have the nice stuff and we don't, and we're
Your
opposed
neighbors
to.
to vote.
Right.
It's
You
an
know
option.
where I go with that, but
It's an option.
I'm just saying.
It's an option. And I
Because
think-
we were gonna use that stadium.
Correct.
When is that, you think, when would we have to decide on something like
On this expansion or?
that?
no?
On using that as.
Well, I think it would just be if the athletic department decides, this is what we think is best.
There's a bond opportunity in between,
There will be.
yeah.
I like that. I like where you're going.
Maybe
Yeah.
it's an after debate.
And
Because
what
then
we'll,
just have a press box.
and what we'll also be able to do with this press box is show the community, what we were talking about with the
Yeah.
press box. It's
Yes.
not a Taj Mahal.
Right there, right.
It's-
Something that's functionable.
That's right.
Bare
And we
minimum,
want it to
That's
be
right.
proper.
that's it.
So we'll be able to show the community over here, this is what we were trying to do. We weren't trying to build one that you may see in other school districts that caused a lot of controversy. We're just trying to build the adequate press box to replace the
Friday
one
Night
that had been.
There
It's
you go.
a sub 500 square foot building, so it's not a large,
What'd you say about
it's just under 500 square foot because.
Which is the size of the press box essentially that was there before.
Yeah, if we go above that, it triggers an elevator.
Right.
And that's what we did not want to go down. So this isn't, I mean, it's practical, it's workable, it's nice, it's new, but it's definitely not Taj Mahal facility.
Because we don't need it.
And so if it's gonna be a competition, it would come with a scoreboard, I'm sure, and all
Oh,
that,
yeah.
right?
Yes, ma'am, that's all in that package, yes, ma'am.
Beautiful. I love it.
John, one question I have is the extra money that we have, I'm assuming you all consider inflation between now
So
and later, so
we
we got that?
have bought out a lot of the trades already. We were really fortunate to get a lot of the big ticket items bought out before some of the changes in the economy for fuel charges and stuff like that. We still have to buy out some of the packages, but they're not we're talking earthwork and the utilities, the plumber, electricians, that's all bought out, that's all going, that's already contracted, the dollar amounts are, like, we have had the ability with this project to time really well. It's really played in our favor, and we're seeing the results of that. If we were to bid this project out now, I don't know that I'd be coming to you saying we have $2 million extra, and this might be an opportunity, right? Like, we were very fortunate when we hit this window.
I just have to ask because, even at my work, we're sending out surcharge letters and everything, and we're getting them in from our suppliers, and we're handing them out, and it's a freaking mess.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say. I was happy to come to this instead of stay home working, so, with all that.
We're actually buying fencing out right now for that very reason.
That's sort of
So
good.
we don't need the fencing on site right now because they're turning dirt, but we're buying it
Yeah, I would say
ahead of
that. Yeah.
that price increase and letting it sit in the warehouse.
I love it, man.
We
That's
try to
on-
take
That's on my
advantage.
side. That's on District 4. I will say that, okay? It's over there.
Yeah, that's right. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank y'all.
I think Mr. Scott had something to talk about.
Yeah, before we move to adjournment, we are going to be assembling a naming committee for high school too. And that process is going to include, we need your help. We're gonna include the process for naming it and selecting a mascot and school colors, like all the things. So we're anticipating this to be a solid 3 meetings. And it's a bigger committee. It's very much more comprehensive than any other naming committee that we've ever done before. And a couple of y'all are gonna be on it.
Have you heard anybody that wants like East Central Black?
We haven't. We haven't
They
heard.
want to separate.
No, we haven't heard one way or the other. I think they're pretty
Oh, I'm
open-minded to the process, like we
I'm
haven't,
hearing it.
nobody's pushing it hard, but, we thought it would be a good idea if all of you or some of you had anybody in your area that is pretty engaged and might be a good voice at the table to nominate some folks, give Mo their names, give us their contact info, and then we'll include them in the invitation. All you would need to say if you invite them is it's about a 3-meeting commitment. You're gonna be naming the second high school, you're gonna have input on the mascot, school colors as well. They won't make a final decision because they'll be bringing the top 2 names or 3 and top 2 colors and mascots that they come up with. There'll be a survey in the community process a little bit in here too, particularly for the mascot. They're gonna be bringing all that back to the board. The board will have final decision-making authority, but anybody you invite, just let them know that's what their commitment's going to be and what their role's gonna be. And it's a big one.
When does that start?
It's
Like,
been
when would
76
when-
years since
when
we've
would
done
be the
this.
first meeting? When would be the first?
May.
meeting?
We're gonna set the first one. in
May, June, and
May,
July.
June,
So
July.
one meeting in May, one meeting in June, and one
And
meeting in
reveal in
July.
August.
How big, you said it's gonna be, how many people?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask.
And we're talking possibly around 30.
So
I have
we
two for
probably.
sure, though.
Yeah, so y'all can
3 or
nominate
4.
1 or 2, however you want, 2 if you want, whatever.
Oh, from the board?
Yeah, each of you, and if you don't have anybody, that's fine too.
How's your board policy? You'll have to be on it.
You're on it.
Policy, sorry.
Well,
And
he
then
should
one,
be-
and then one other.
And David,
one other trustee, and then-
yeah.
I wanna see what it
Oh.
is.
That's my side too.
Wait till the drawing I come up with.
That's my
Where's
side
that
too.
record?
Wait till the drawing.
Right, you can't be on it.
So do I
That's my
have to
side
nominate
too.
any people too?
Well, he is like
If
right
you
now.
can, then that's, we just figured we'd be.
But it's a high
we all
school, you're right,
do
it's
that.
not-
That's right. Come on, man.
So every board member needs to bring at least 2, not 3
And the
people.
meetings, are they
Two.
touring or just talking?
They're just talking, it'll be here, we'll be either meeting in the boardroom or we'll meet in the ESC classroom.
It'll be, we'll workshop it, well,
Yeah.
you've been on the committee, you've been on go.
Yeah, if you.
But we're gonna workshop it. No, it's a positive. I'm saying you're familiar with the process.
Yes.
So, but this is,
But
it's,
this is not anything I would be on.
no, it's gonna be,
Why?
we figure it's, most of the time it's a 2-meeting process. This is
I'm
gonna be every bit of
The
three.
board meeting where we vote.
Oh, come on.
I'm scared. People get mad
You
about
get on the
it.
committee
I think we'll be
before,
okay.
be on it.
I think we'll be okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna be
And
okay.
you know, when the initial, facility study committee was working on informing the strategy we took for a second high school, you know, they went through all that exercise of do we open it up as a freshman, sophomore campus, so, you know, like, what do we do? They had kind of had some preliminary conversations around, are we okay with them both being 6A? Should we make sure one's a little smaller? What about the name? You know, they kind of started to get in the weeds a little bit there. And so I think we're gonna be okay, based on those conversations. I think we're gonna reach consensus pretty quick, and it's gonna end up being something, it'll be some discourse, it'll be civil, but I think we'll land somewhere where we are all gonna be pretty excited about it. It'll honor East Central.
Have this further tradition on everybody, we find.
And the generational families, you know, they're not gonna go way out in left field. I don't think our community's gonna create a north side of the track, south side of the track
I mean, I'm just.
division.
Yeah.
All kinds of conversation.
Do we need another board member on the committee?
You have, by board policy, you have to have two. You have to-
Including myself?
You're one, and
I'm
then
one,
one of
we need another one. Is there anybody that wants to?
These two can rush in both.
So is it just two or can it be three?
It says two, I don't know, I'll have to go back and reread the language on saying if it could be.
Yeah.
It says two
Why don't you
trustees,
do one, you can do one.
board president is one.
Yeah. We'll talk about it.
Okay, we'll make sure.
We'll
figure
see
it
who
out.
has the black eye.
I'm going to do rock, paper, scissors right now. Rock, paper, scissors. now.
All right, so if you would, because we're gonna have that first meeting in May, get some names to us, or Mo, however y'all wanna do it, get them to us, in a week.
Got it?
By the end of next week. If you get them by the end of next week,
Both of us, to make sure we
confirmation,
both get it.
yeah, get us names and contact info, and then we'll get them in the invite list, and we'll personally invite them, and get them all the necessary information. And then y'all can grapple with trustee participation, however y'all need to do that, arm wrestle, right hand up.
I'm
No,
wrestling, I'm
I
wrestling.
have a plan.
Okay, okay.
He's got.
I know his brother.
Oh.
I'm the oldest. Oh.
Well, just real quick before we go, Ginger will not be at the next board meeting and neither will Randall. So I need
Next
to make,
week.
yeah, the next regular board meeting, I need to make sure that we're all here. Is there anybody that doesn't?
Barring any unforeseens, I
And I will
plan on-
check with Coach as well, but I just wanted to share that with you guys, so I won't be able to, message y'all all or text y'all or whatever,
Yeah.
bother you with that. So,
Takes all I can.
And Mr. Mulkey did indicate he would be there.
Oh, he did.
In the message to you.
okay, I got you, got you, okay.
So we can-
So if there's not anything else,
We have this, you wanna-
oh, yeah, sorry. In your packet, there's a, piece of paper that Camry was nice enough to print out for us.
Yeah.
And it was, for the ribbon cutting ceremonies, I did the best I could, trying to get everybody that, could get a chance to be at least one. The CTE will be the Friday, May 15th at 5:30. We're gonna do Whitney's tree dedication first, and then we'll do the ribbon cutting. And then Valor is Thursday, July 11th at 4:30, and Victory is Thursday, June 25th at 4:30.
That's just-
Share it with them on the calendar.
Yes, they're already on the calendar and on the release.
Signs of the-
Yes.
Will we have maps? Do you know, Melvin and I couldn't, we left to go to Victory, never got there. Lost us.
We will provide maps.
Serious.
Yes, that's what I did.
It was, I don't know how that happened, but just to tell you, we didn't go AWOL, we just never could get there. I tried to call him.
I went to the first entrance and got lost, and it's the second entrance.
Well,
We'll put it,
So we
we'll
need to
put it
specify
back.
and
Yeah.
then we found out that people that live around there.
What?
Huh?
We have a
There's
Is it
no
school
bill.
though?
I've never been so exasperated. So, okay.
Hey, Ms. Bill, we'll find you and escort you there.
Oh, you're gonna get a police escort.
Oh,
Lights and sirens.
There you go.
Hey, real quick, while I have you guys here, is anybody planning on dividing and conquering?
All right,
Of course.
all right, so y'all do that, but also know that we're gonna have to make a call by tomorrow afternoon.
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock, one way or the other, because the weather is looking,
Oh.
and what we wanna do is make a call and send out and make a date, so that so we don't have some go.
Insides and outsides.
Yes.
Cancel all of them.
Cancel all, reschedule all, so that everybody, because it's an event that we want to happen district-wide at the
Say
same
that again
time.
louder. It's on-
So 3 o'clock
It's recorded.
Friday, y'all can still coordinate how you want to divide and conquer, but we will send correspondence out, a firm decision by 3 o'clock tomorrow.
And if we have to postpone, it will be the following Saturday, because we go too deep into it, we're in the fiesta, so it'll be the following.
So if we have to cancel, it'll be the following Saturday.
But to answer your question, yeah, I'm going to become that as a holiday.
Okay, I was gonna make Tommy and either.
And Melvin's gonna do the men.
So they're all at the same time.
9 to 11.
My husband,
Can't make
But
separate.
at 3 o'clock, we'll know if everything's
Yes.
canceled. If the only some can't fill it.
Yes, yeah, that was my.
Yeah.
That was in the last, packet, wasn't it?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
All right, well, if there's nothing else, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Santos, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Friedenhoff, all those in favor, raise your hand. Meeting adjourned.